Hi, my name is Dan Rossati. I'm the creative director at SEGA HARDlight, and I was the creative director on Sonic Dream Team.
Hey, this is Lewis Macan. I'm the chief software engineer at SEGA HARDlight, and you're listening to the SEGA Lounge.
Welcome to the SEGA Lounge, where we celebrate our love for all things SEGA, including the games, the music, and the community. I'm your host, KC. Join me as I talk to different guests and learn more about their projects and passion for SEGA. Welcome to the SEGA Lounge, everyone. How is everyone doing? This is episode 211, and it's quite the special one. We're back to interviewing people. Yay! But I'm getting ahead of myself. As announced during last week's live episode, you can now find a revamped support section on our website. So if you wish to help with the costs of running the podcast, including website, domain, podcast host, etc., please consider going to thesegalounge.com/support and checking out two ways of doing so. You can either use Buy Me a Coffee, and you'll have my thanks. Or if you'd rather support the show, represent the SEGA Lounge, and get something physical in return, you can also get some of our official merch. That includes mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, and the now available 10th anniversary mug in black, which is just stunning. There will probably be more 10th anniversary merch coming throughout the year, so keep your eyes on thesegalounge.com/support for that. If you do choose to support us, thank you very, very much. In SEGA adjacent news, I'd like to shout out a pretty cool indie game that is out now called Berserk Boy. Made by a single developer and inspired by classic Mega Man and Sonic games, this 2D side-scroller will have you trying to rack up combos to defeat enemies and get to the end of each stage as fast as you can, while using several different elemental powers and transformations. Oh, and did I mention the amazing soundtrack by T. Lopes and Friends? So good. Do check it out, as it's available now on the Nintendo Switch and Steam. Well then, what about this week's interview, eh? This week, we're back to the interviewing game on the show, and I'm not alone either. Joining me will be a good friend of the show, Lime Reversed, aka Emil. Yeah, that's his name, hence Lime Reversed. Emil. Yeah. Lime and I had the privilege of chatting with Dan Rossati, studio creative director at SEGA HARDlight, and Lewis Macan, chief software engineer also at SEGA HARDlight. Both of them were part of the talented team behind one of last year's surprise hits, Sonic Dream Team. We addressed the genesis of the game, the Apple Arcade exclusivity, and much, much more. It was a great time with great guests, so please do enjoy. Hello, Dan and Lewis. Welcome. Welcome to the SEGA Lounge. How are you guys?
Yeah, good. Nice to be here, man.
Hey, it's great to see you guys. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming, for taking the time to join us and chat a little bit about Sonic Dream Team and other stuff I'm sure we'll get around to. But, you know, we usually, when I have new people on the show, I usually like to start from the very beginning. So I like to know my guests a little bit more, like intimately, but not in a weird way, I thought.
Oh,
I hope.
my.
So my first question is usually, how did you get into video games, like as a hobby? I imagine you guys were gamers before getting into the industry. Yeah? Who'd like to go
absolutely.
first?
I mean, from my perspective, you know, I was playing games when I was very small. Like, you know, I remember being at, my mum went to university and I was just like an only child, little kid, and I'd be playing all the arcade games, like stood on a little crate so I could reach the controls. And it was always a thing that drew me in. You know, the kind of back at those times, you didn't have big cutscenes or anything, so you'd be constantly kind of making up the stories in your head as to why you were playing this game. You were the spaceship shooting the things, and yeah, so it's been a kind of a lifelong thing for me. I played music for quite a while as well, but even then, even at the time, I felt I was only really playing music to fund my video game addiction. So that was kind of that was a lot of fun.
You should explain about the music side a bit more. It's got a cool history about music.
Oh, really?
I do. Yeah, I used to play music professionally and was kind of in a band for a number of years. We toured mostly in the States and that kind of thing. And actually, we were in a PS1 video game, Gekido. Our band was called Apartment 26.
Okay.
But you won't have heard of it. It's fine. But I guess, I mean, the fun video game connection was we did the Ozfest tour back in 2000. So you can kind of imagine the kind of band that would have been being on that tour. But that was actually sponsored by Sega. So we got a Dreamcast in our tour bus and we were sat there playing it. So yeah, so
I
we
remember
had
that. Yeah,
video game obsession even back then.
Okay, that's interesting. So the connection with Sega, did it start there for you?
Oh, well, I mean, I was playing games. I've still got my Game Gear. That's still gathering dust under my bed. You know, a huge kind of console with its tiny little screen, which, yeah, I mean, it was great. And, you know, so back in those days, the sort of the Master System, the Mega Drive. I was also quite a big Nintendo fan. I'm not sure if I will get sort of fired for saying that I was big.
Yeah, we'll edit that out later. Don't worry. Yeah. We'll bleep.
Just bleep that, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I'm a massive beep fan. Yeah.
Did you say what instrument you played?
I didn't, but I played bass guitar.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Bass player. Nice. Okay. Excellent. So, and how did you get into the industry? After playing in a band?
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one because I think, you know, after the music sort of stopped, so I didn't really know what to do with myself. You know, I'd always been kind of obsessed with playing games, but I had to admit I was actually terrified of getting into making games. I didn't want to do it. And the reason was that, you know, I'd spent years playing music and kind of being really into music and kind of obsessing about music. So therefore, it kind of ruined listening to music for me. I can't really listen to music in the way that I would always listen. Because I think about the structure of how things are put together and the instrumentation and everything else. So I can only listen to like free jazz and like pure Japanese noise or whatever. So now it's difficult. So what I didn't want to do is ruin my video game hobby, which I'd had for years, and I love video games. It's my kind of one escape. So yeah, I kind of didn't want to do it. I learned, I wanted to use computers, and I used games tech, and I was doing that kind of outside of games and kind of doing training and simulation, that kind of stuff, using game engines and stuff. But eventually the opportunity came up. I had a friend that worked at Sega, and he said, hey, I think you would be a really good fit for the studio. Just come and chat with us. And I got over it. And I still love playing video games, even more so now than ever before. So,
awesome.
Yeah,
that's nice. That's a nice outcome. Yeah, I like that. And thanks for sharing. Lewis. Awesome.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. What about you, Dan? How did it all start?
For me, I suppose, I did same as everyone. I kind of just grew up playing games. I think I started playing games around 4. And I was probably on the fence between Nintendo and Sega. I just played both. And I had a Game Gear the same. I still have that knocking around. I had all sorts of games on that, which was pretty cool. But I think I didn't know from the start that I wanted to get into games specifically. All I ever knew as a kid, I was one of those annoying people that just kind of knew what they wanted to do, which is that I knew I wanted to direct something. So it could have been animation, it could have been films, it could have been games. I just knew I wanted to be a director. So I kind of learned and sort of, I don't know, channeled my way through like, okay, games are really cool and they've got exciting things you can do with them. But I learned everything I could about animation, learned everything I could about filmmaking, and somehow for all of that stuff, I kind of jumped around between jobs and bits and pieces. I heard that a company in Brighton had once like blown up effectively, like, and out of that they'd started up with these little indies. So I like tracked down one of the guys on LinkedIn and sent him a message and just said like why I wanted to be in games, and they kindly like let me get into that. So it kind of started really young. I knew I wanted to direct stuff, but actually getting into games was a bit just lucky, really, I suppose.
Why direct specifically?
I suppose I'm very visual with how I think a lot of the times. I always have these big plans for everything. Like, straight, I mean, like Lewis probably laughing straight away. Like, as soon as you have a conversation, okay, it's going to be like this, and this is going to work, and this is the important part. And I can tell you every detail about everything that I want the vision to be. And I think I'm quite good at explaining how something should be and why it's important that it's that way. And that's probably how I'd always seen myself, is like trying to work with a bunch of cool people, trying to create something. And I grew up watching, you know, like documentaries of Steven Spielberg, how he made films and all that stuff. It just looked like the job. So I was just like, yeah, that's me. That's what I want to do.
That's nice. That's nice. Awesome. And so you've worked in, Lewis, I think you went straight to Sega, right? As your first.
Yes, my first games company. Absolutely.
Okay. But not you, right, Dan? You've worked on other places before.
I was really lucky. I mean, it was super lucky. I sort of hate telling the story because it was a bit of a right place, right time. So there's a company called Black Rock Studios in Brighton. It sort of detonated around, like everyone got laid off. But a small group of people, they called them the Black Pebbles because they were like these little spin-off studios that had come off. And I just happened to hear from a friend of a friend that a group was setting some up, and this guy, Tim Swan, there was Jason Avon and Jay Green, and they'd all people that had worked at Black Rock Studios, and they started up this company called Boss Alien. And these were these amazingly different people, but really amazing leaders. But they just happened to take a chance on a guy. At the time, I was working at an email marketing company in the tech support department. I just sort of sent them a bit of a, please give me a job type email. And they just let me sort of come in. And the way I sort of did it was I had a week's worth of holiday, and I didn't really have much of a portfolio or anything like that. So I just got to talking with these guys, and I said, look, I'll use a week's worth of holiday. I'll come work with you for free. Just give me a chance. And they did. They actually went for it, which was, I don't think you'd ever get that today, but it was really lucky. And we just, the rest was history, I suppose.
Wow. Amazing.
That's amazing. Just put yourself out there. I think that's the takeaway from this story. Yeah. Okay, awesome. And so you've worked for Boss Alien, Zynga as well, Ubisoft.
Yeah, so it was basically Boss Alien got bought by a company called Natural Motion, and then Natural Motion got bought by Zynga. So I ended up working for all three of those. Then I went from Zynga to Ubisoft, where I got to work on the South Park Phone Destroyer mobile game, which was hilarious. And then from there, I ended up at Sega.
Okay, awesome. That's quite a resume for someone who just like went on LinkedIn. Can I work for you guys, please?
Yeah, indeed.
Awesome. Okay, and so right now, what are your exact job titles at SEGA HARDlight, Dan and Lewis?
Mine's studio creative director, so it's just idea guy basically. And then you can explain. You've got a special job title. He's got the best job title in the industry, I think.
So I'm chief software engineer, so I basically work with the director of software engineering. We run all of the different projects. We run a lot of projects at HARDlight simultaneously. So I kind of oversee effectively the leads at the studio. But for Sonic Dream Team, I was the lead programmer as well. So.
Excellent.
Yeah, chief is such a good title. Right?
Yeah.
Well, Dan, you're credited as writer too, right?
Yeah, so like I sort of sit in the writer-director camp. Like I like to come up with the stories and then try and make the game, sort of a back and forth process. So I've got on writing for this one.
By the way, I've had people from HARDlight on this show a few years ago. How big is the studio right now? Because I don't think we have like the sort of notion of growth from the outside.
It's
how many people?
Around people at the moment, I think, isn't it? Around that sort of size.
Yeah, it is. So I think, am I right in thinking you spoke to people during like the Crazy Taxi sort of time?
Last time, I think, Crazy Taxi was the final project that I invited people over, to talk about.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, but
it was like HARDlight and Demiurge, I think, worked together, or I think that was Demiurge Studios was the name of the other studio that was collaborating with HARDlight, I think, for that project.
Yeah, they used to sit under Sega as well.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's before my time. I've only been here about 3.5 years ish. Okay. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, but it's nice. So it's quite a big team working on several projects at the same time, like you were saying, right?
Yeah, so it's quite split up because we run the live games like Sonic Dash, Sonic Forces, Sonic Boom as well. They're all running with their own little crew, and then Dream Team is its own thing. And we do lots of porting for the rest of Sega as well. So all these guys solve how do you get it onto various consoles, all that stuff. It's cool.
Okay, so I think that's a brilliant segue into how Sonic Dream Team came about, right? Which was, I think, I don't know, I think, Emil, you're with me on feeling this way. It sort of came out of nowhere at some point last year, right?
Yeah,
so
very much so.
We had Sonic, the final DLC for Sonic Frontiers. We had Sonic Superstars, and we thought, okay, that's enough Sonic for a year. And then out of the blue, like Sonic Dream Team, Apple Arcade. What's this? Yeah. So how did this all come about? How did it start?
Its origin points, I suppose, actually started before I joined HARDlight. It came off the back of doing some other Apple Arcade different projects. So we did Sonic Racing and Choo Choo Rocket. And I think the relationship with Apple was so good, and they're so easy to work with on the sort of just get cool stuff made, that it just continued as a bit of a partnership. And out of it came, can we do another Sonic game? And that shaping of that took a little while to work out what it would be, but ultimately sort of turned into what became Dream Team.
Did you ask that? Can we do another Sonic team, or did they ask that?
I don't know which way around it would have gone, because it started before I joined, so I'm not sure exactly what the point would be.
So if I remember rightly, I mean, it was very much a mutual thing. I think we both felt this was going great. Like, we worked on those two games that Dan mentioned at the launch of Apple Arcade, so it was quite a stressful time for everybody involved, I think. But it was a good working relationship. So I think at the end of it, both parties were sort of thinking, well, how do we make this work? How could we do something more? Because now we understand working with each other. We could kind of see the potential of the platform. So it kind of came out like, I think they were sort of saying, pitch some stuff to us, and they kind of, so I think it was pretty mutual, which was great. It has been a very good working relationship.
Oh, awesome.
I have very fond memories of Choo Choo Rocket Universe, especially, which I'm very sad that it's not available anymore. But okay. Manly tear. Okay. but yeah, I do remember those days as well. And so, as you said, I think, Dan, it was you that said that the game probably changed a lot, right? Since its very first, pitch. So did it come from you guys, HARDlight, or Sonic Team? Like the idea of getting this kind of game? Because it's not like a racing game like the Team Sonic Racing one we had, or like a smaller puzzle game or whatever. It's like can I say a proper like 3D Sonic game?
Yeah, that's sort of how the conversation went, I suppose, a little bit, was how do you make something with more meat on it, I suppose, is a good way of thinking about it. That it has a little more in common with a console title than it would with your traditional mobile. And it's sort of finding that nice overlap. Because we knew, obviously, with Apple Arcade, you'd have to be playing on touch screens, and it needs to fit on lots of different devices. So it's already you start by thinking in multi-platform terms, because the whole of Apple Arcade, you can play it on a Mac and you can play it on like quite a low-end iPhone as well. So there's quite a breadth of devices to think about. So you already know that going in, but you want the experience to be very high-end, and we were really trying to be, or how much can we push this? How good can it be? And we're massive Sonic fans, like the whole studio is. So you kind of want to just nail it and do the best thing you can, considering all the constraints you might be working with. So it started there. It was always just, how cool can this thing be?
Okay. How hands-on were Sonic team on this? Like, I imagine you had to, like, was like a bit of a back and forth with Japan, right? To in order to get things approved and whatnot.
Well, we work really closely with Azuka-san. So Azuka-san looks after the whole of the Sonic IP. And I mean, he's there with us the whole time. So he can feed into everything, improve stuff. He came up with ideas. Like the idea of having Arium as a guide character, that came from Azuka-san, like really early on. There wasn't an idea for any kind of guide character of any kind. And he put that out there, and then we sort of built around that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we work with him, I would say, very closely, but it is mostly, the conduit is Azuka-san. He's the center point. So if we need to get feedback from anyone, sound effects, anything like that, he points us in the right direction and sorts it out for us. I mean, guy's awesome. He's been doing it for 30 years. So he knows his stuff.
So did Izuka come with the initial concept of this being a dream world?
No, that actually came from our studio. Again, that was one of the things that was in place at a very early stage when I first joined the studio. And prior to that, I think it had jumped around with different story plots of what it could be. But really, I think that initially probably came from, what type of story can we tell that won't have too much of an effect on the lore? Because we weren't sure in the beginning whether it could be canon or not. I think initially the thinking was, would it be more like one of the storybook games? And then it wasn't, and we got able to do what we wanted, but we kept the dream aesthetic because it was starting to turn into its own thing, which was cool.
Yeah, that's very smart thinking, though. Like, how can we like move away from the lore of this and like the canon in a dream world? That's a nice idea. Okay, yeah, that's smart.
It helps you just you can focus on the core gameplay without worrying too much about the effects of the story. And although everyone in the studio really cares about being lore accurate and really wanting to do something cool, you don't always get those chances, or you're not necessarily sure how that's going to be taken. Because you just, when you start a project like this, you don't know what the ins and outs or how the timeline, like you were saying, that like Dream Team comes in right at the end of the year. We didn't even know that when we were starting, when it would launch and stuff. So you make those types of decisions to give you some flexibility, and then from there you can kind of work with it.
If even like the aesthetic of the world, and like you're in a dream world, so you can actually go as big as you want, as crazy and original, inventive as you want, right? Without caring too much about, this wouldn't fit the usual Sonic world doesn't fit. No, it's the dream world. We can do whatever we want.
It does actually open up quite a lot in that way. The interesting part, though, is that because Sonic's world is quite strange, like normally it's very strange, it's quite hard to plus it because it's already starting in a weird way. And so you kind of think, okay, like dreams are really twisted on that front. So you end up thinking quite abstractly, but you start in quite an abstract place because Sonic is, especially the original games, if you think from a classic point of view, some of those visuals are inspired by like almost MTV style graphics from back in the day, So it's kind of, it's quite hard to shift your brain into that, but we got there eventually, and it sort of has its own style now, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great. And you already mentioned Apple Arcade as being great partners, right, in the past, and the desire to keep working with them. Was that something, obviously, when we have anything that it's exclusive to any platform, it doesn't have to be like a mobile platform, any console or whatever, there's always going to be someone who's going to be disappointed and sad because, this is like locked. I want to experience this and I can't. Did you take that into consideration? Were you expecting people to understand? What's like the conversation behind the scenes when it comes to this kind of thing?
Well, yeah, I think initially it comes from, this is a really cool opportunity. You're just thinking this thing wouldn't exist if this opportunity wasn't there. And yeah, I can understand people wanting it on other platforms and things like that, but it just wouldn't exist. Like the opportunity came because of the partnership. So it was just, you either take the opportunity or you don't. And we chose to take it.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
makes sense.
I mean, I think one of the things that Apple have actually done here with Arcade is they've tried to put something together that is family friendly and it's also in some ways kind of the antithesis of mobile gaming. It's it's not about adverts and kind of like grind and monetization, IAPs and that kind of thing. So, in a sense, for us as developers, it's kind of like, oh, well, those are the kind of games I want to make, right? I want to make those games that are just purely games. And, I think our studio's done very well at making, games that are free to play, but actually good fun. I mean, I think, I remember playing Sonic Dash just as a player before coming to HARDlight and just thinking, actually, that's a pretty good use of the IP. It's a simple, fun game, but like for kids, that's got to be great. And, it really fits with the kind of aesthetic of Sonic. So I do get it. But for us as game makers, we sort of said, go nuts, do what you want to do, and you don't have to really think about the kind of the meta game side of it as kind of a business element, I suppose.
I suppose another way to think about this as well is that from our studio's perspective, it's quite a jump because this is close to console mindedness for us, and it's on a platform we already know, so we're very familiar with the platform. It meant that we could take the risk or the shot, if you like, at the higher level quality. And I think that was you can't pass that up. Like, it doesn't happen every day. Like, you're going to have a partner that really wants something at a higher quality level. Just have to go for it. I mean, to me, I was just like, this is a cool platform. I can't see too much of a downside, but I do understand where folks are coming from, where it's like, I'm not going to get to play it because of the exclusivity, but it's just, yeah, it wouldn't exist. So you wouldn't get to play it otherwise anyways, so.
Were there any specific challenges to making this kind of game? Moving from the kind of Sonic games that you've done before?
Yeah, I mean, one way to think about it, I suppose, is that you could if you took something like Sonic Dash and Sonic Forces, you could think of their gameplay as almost primarily 2D. It's almost like taking a sheet of paper and moving it into the screen, but that you're really moving in the X and Y axis. This is full 3D, and it's like this studio had never done what we call the 3 Cs, if you like. So it's like character, camera, and controls. Full 3 Cs in 3D is unbelievably difficult, especially if it's the first time. And so some of the challenges here were, it was a group of people that had never actually worked together. I didn't realize when I first joined that the directors had never worked to each other. I thought I was just the new guy, but no one had. And it was a group of folks that had never taken this type of challenge altogether. So when you're assembling a team, it takes a little while for everyone to sort of getting to know you type of way, and how do you think, and all the sort of, I wouldn't say politics, it sounds kind of harsh, but there's like just general getting over the hump of knowing each other. For the first like half a year at least, I would say it took a little bit of time to get going and everyone understand what everyone means. And after that, it sort of started to gel and everyone gets the same sort of shared sense of humor and stuff like that. And once you're through that bit, the technical challenges become slightly easier. I mean, it doesn't make the technical part easier, but it means the communication gets a lot easier and a lot faster. So sense. For us, it's just the first stab at it. So yeah, it was unbelievably difficult to get going, I think. But once we got going, it was good.
Oh yes. How tricky it was. It's a very good question about what challenges we had.
I would imagine also, I didn't really think about this before you mentioned this, Dan, but Apple Arcade is available not just on like the high-end, more high-end iPhones, like 2 to 3 years old phones or whatever, but maybe like all the way to, I don't know, iPhone, I'd imagine 10 or something, perhaps 11, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it actually runs on iPhone 6S. Which
Yeah.
Okay.
2014, I'll say, like, or 2016 maybe. So it's, yeah, I mean, basically modest powered devices. Let's
Yeah.
face it.
Yeah. So that's another challenge in itself, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that was something that the engineering team was, quite focused on making this game, because, even within a kind of an exclusivity kind of walled garden, if you like, you want to make sure that everybody that can play it gets to play it, and it's a decent experience. So getting the game to run performantly, it was a real challenge just to get it. But I'm really pleased with how it's come out. I think it's it's a genuine achievement for us to have got it to where it is, and in a relatively short space of time. So
yeah.
Are there specific things that you are especially proud of how things came out?
Well, I mean, I for a tech point of view, genuinely proud, because we started. This is the first game that we've made where we actually started from a clean slate. Basically, all of our previous games, they kind of take the tech from the previous game and build on it in a quite literal sense. In most cases, where you literally take the project and you start pulling the assets out and rebuilding. But this was the first time I said, right, what I want is a clean slate, and I want to build the technology that we need for this game. And as Dan said, what we didn't have was those kind of 3 Cs, that kind of camera control, the full character sort of feel that you want. I mean, and the challenge that Dan set for us was, you want to be able to just enjoy running around a space, right? Like, as in, just you should have the joy of just being Sonic in an environment, or any of the characters. So we worked for a long time to get that tech in the right place, and I think we built a system that was really modular. You could kind of swap in and out abilities, and you could tweak those abilities very easily. It's kind of a visual graph that the designers could work with, that kind of thing. So I think what we managed to come out with, given that, especially if you're playing with touch controls, that's notoriously difficult. But I think even just a 3D platformer with an amazing £70 controller, do you know what I mean? Like an expensive, good, elite controller. It's tough. It's tough to get a 3D platformer feeling really good. So I think that was the bit, and the sort of the flow state that you can achieve in the game as a result is something that I look back on and feel like, yes, we nailed it. Good.
Awesome. What about Dan? Are there specific things that you are especially proud of that you were involved in?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably less my involvement, but more just I think the interpretation. So very early on, everything I do, I always do like rubbish little doodles or like animations to try and explain how something should move. And as Lewis was saying, my obsession is a little bit with flow and physics and just general, everything that Sonic used to be like loved for back in the classic days, of the momentum and the flow from that. We started there. A lot of our like late night conversations were basically, how do you get this to feel right? And I was trying to drive that into the team and get everybody to understand that was important. And I think it came through, but it came through in its own way. Like, this game is different from anything that's gone before in the Sonic universe, but it taps into a lot of what was cool about it. So you still get that state of flow. And we talk a lot about rhythm in games sometimes. And I think the difference between how I see rhythm and how a lot of people see rhythm is some people see rhythm a bit like a drum beat, that the game tells you this is how you should play, so you have to tap when the game wants you to. Whereas the type of rhythm that I'm interested in is more like the state of mind that a skateboarder would be in. So you kind of have a sense of flow, you get your own sense of timing, and you're looking at the environment like, okay, I can ollie up onto that and grind across this. And you're reading the environment, so your timing comes from how, if you get a sense of intuition, you think it's possible, and we allow you to do it, then the physics starts to feel like, okay,
and you feel it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and it's like you're trying to get that into the player as best you can. And from a first shot that this studio has ever done it, that we managed to get it as good as we did, I was pretty in awe of the team to go from nothing to that, and it's in less than 2 years. I mean, very few studios could probably pull that off. I was very impressed.
I think we were too. Yeah, I remember we had a show back in December, our like season finale of last season, and we actually talked about Sonic as a whole last year. And when we got to Sonic Dream Team, we had like, it was the two of us and two other people. We were all like surprised at how, even compared with the bigger Sonic games that year, how it felt so good, and how, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in a little bit more, but how we felt like Sonic Team should take notes here. And because that's
we
how.
won't pass that one, no.
Yeah, because it's like you guys mentioned flow and rhythm. I think that's a good way of putting it. Like, it feels right? You're playing and it feels right.
Oh, it's good. That's good to hear that it came across, because it started to feel right to us probably about the end of the first year-ish, wasn't it? Or around there, I guess.
I would say even later than
Maybe.
that, frankly. Yeah. Honestly, it was,
It was tough to get.
late.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those ones where there was a fight to get to it, and you can kind of tell like little bits start to fall into place. You're like, okay, that's it. And just hold on to that for a second. And then someone will break something. You're like, oh no, like it's done. And then you have to sort of keep trying to get it back. And I think it's very difficult, because one of the things is the 3 C's, as I was sort of saying, is like the control side of it. But the other part is level design. Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing the studio hadn't really done before at the level we had to do it here, because Sonic's only really any good if you can channel that speed into a specific area, and you have to do it in very specific ways. We'd never done any of that before, and we're now doing it with a whole brand new set of controls. And we did it with a group of folks that, like, this was their first gig, like, this is the first time they're doing it as well. So we had a couple of like directors feeding into it, but some of them, they'd never done level design before. So we're learning as they were going. It was, I mean, honestly, it's very impressive that a group like this could pull off something. I mean, I do to keep looking back at the game going like, yeah, I'm impressed that actually came together, because there's moments where you're worried the whole time.
And like many reviewers agree with you. I took the time to look through reviews about this, and there are so many positive things. People liked the tight controls, the gameplay, the animation. There are 3 quotes I kind of want to hear your reactions to. Game Explain says, "I greatly admire what HARDlight has accomplished here." And then Some Call Me Johnny says, "If Sega still had any inclination of remaking older games, I'm talking Sonic Adventure 1, 2, Heroes, and the like, let HARDlight take that home." And then finally, Sun Procrastinate says, "Sega HARDlight has some talented people on their team, and I genuinely wouldn't mind them passing some notes and talents for Sonic Team on a main console Sonic game." These are amazing words. What are your reactions to this?
Well, I guess it's flattering in one way, isn't it? Like, kind of that's what you want to hear when you make something that's awesome. I mean, I think, on the one about remaking the old games, there's loads of people here that would absolutely love it, but I'm not sure like how that would all work internally. It might do. I don't know. It's something that we'd have to have a conversation about at some point. But at the same time,
in a way, like it's a huge token of trust.
Yes,
on the quality that you could deliver.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that someone would want to trust the studio with something like that. And for me, there's a part of me that's like a bit nervous around that, because you're like, there's even more pressure around that one, because it's like so known. If you took something from the adventure games are so loved that if you mess with them in any way, or you want to like tweak something, those decisions, every decision will have as many enemies as it will like fans, And so it's probably harder to remake something else than it would be to make a new full game, And I think I'd probably, from our studio's perspective, prefer to make another game, if that makes sense. Just, I mean, one of my sort of side missions at some point would be do like a standalone Knuckles game and just nail Knuckles gameplay as an example. Like, I'd love to do that at some point, but it just gives you one area of focus, and you could kind of imagine that game somewhat like a Tomb Raider game, but with Sonic style momentum and flow and that sort of structure. So I sort of think in those ways, probably wouldn't want the pressure of having to rebuild something from the past, maybe. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever say no, though.
Yeah, I do agree though.
No, we're not going to do it.
I do agree though. Yeah. I think I'd prefer, as much as there's nostalgia for older projects, a proper, brilliant new game, whatever it is by you guys. I think that's the way to go. But yeah. I think it's more like a testament as to how the fans view this project and the work that you've done here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's important.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant that people are enjoying this so much, right?
It's amazing. Honestly, I'm really. I was shocked.
Yeah, same.
I mean, I was also a lead programmer on Sonic Racing, which is a fun game on Apple Arcade. But I guess there just wasn't that kind of response, like as in that outpouring of kind of emotion. I mean, I've never seen a fan base both so excited for a game and so furiously angry at the exclusivity. So I mean, yeah. But honestly, having spent a couple of years now working on this game and kind of really pouring our hearts into it, as a little team, of the 70 people in the studio, it's not everybody that's even working on it. Do you know what I mean? So it is a small team working on the game too. But it's really vindicating. It's amazing to see that people liked it. And they got some real pleasure out of playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. Like one thing that kept coming up in the reviews was, "Oh, it's such great animation," and it seems like Dan, you had a specific part in that. You had a background in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an animation nerd, I would say. It's just I'm very picky, and so I really like animation to be right. But we work with guys called Super Spline, and they're phenomenally good animators. And our actual capabilities in-house, this was, again, a bit of a new avenue to kind of land it to this level. And to me, with that sort of 3 C's, as you sort of think about it, like you got the camera, the controls, and the character is part of that's animation. If you don't nail the animation, it doesn't feel right. Everything feels kind of wrong. And it's the same with if you're doing the as much as you can with the cutscenes. Although it's expensive, you kind of want to get the characters to emote. And if you really want to sell a specific moment, you've got to nail the animation. You just don't have a choice. And so, yeah, I'm super into that. And if we ever get bigger budgets and stuff, that would be the area I'm shoving the studio down that area for sure.
Amazing.
One thing that I have to ask, like you are credited as writer as well, together with Ian Flynn. What part did you have in making the script happen?
I suppose I spent a lot of the time just when you make games, it's a non-linear process, so things change all the time. Like the actual game loop, what are we trying to collect? How tight are the missions? When would we get to do a story drop? That sort of stuff. That stuff you have to track. And if we brought in Ian too early, it'd just be like, I don't know what I've got to write because I don't know how to interact with this mess. And so I spent a lot of time writing the story. I kind of knew everything that we wanted to say. I came up with the sort of what the definition of the characters are and how their interactions would be. And largely the story that you've got is what I wrote, but Ian came in, we chopped it right down so it'd be short and actually doable, because when I write stuff, it's like a movie, the ridiculous, no one can afford to make it type stuff.
I see.
And yeah, he chopped it down, and Ian's awesome because he does all the comics. He knows exactly how to get the characters to sound just right. So he comes in and he fixes a lot of the dialogue or changes it to make it right. And yeah, I mean, he came in, it was quite near the end, I think, like really. And he didn't have that long, but he just came in and did what was necessary in order to get it right so that we could then, chuck it through the animation pipeline and do it as fast as we could.
Cool.
Awesome.
There is the reason I ask, because there is one specific line in the script that I'm thinking about that immediately just went that it made me go like, my gosh, I love this line. I immediately want to know who was responsible for this line. And it was the line where REM says, "In your dreams."
That was Ian.
It was Ian who was responsible for that. Okay.
So we had a line somewhat like it, and yeah, he tightened it to make it "In your dreams." Yeah, it's Ian.
Cool. Awesome.
Awesome, guys. So we've been chatting for a little bit. I don't know if you know this, but there's a tradition here on the Sega Lounge. Anyone who comes on the show, they're like, "Oh no, we have something."
Not the fear. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, that's the appropriate reaction, though. It's called something we like to call the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Now that you know our guests, it's time to put them to the test. It's the moment we've waited for, and the moment they dread.
Welcome to your doom.
I mean, welcome to the Sega Lounge Challenge.
Okay. And so this time, we thought let's come up with a Sonic related challenge. Right? You're both Sonic fans.
yeah.
So what do we have here for you guys? It's like 10 rounds of questions and music. Okay, this is pretty easy, I think, for you guys. But we have
I think
some
the music's going to be hard for me.
I don't know. All songs here are 15-second long clips. So I think it's doable. What we need from the songs,
I'm going to fail.
we just need the game, and you can choose. You can either play against each other or be a team. You're
We
like
need to be a
Lewis is
team.
like no.
Yeah, definitely. We need Sean. That's who we need. Sean's here. We should have got him. Yeah.
You probably you can get all the help that you need that you want. Yeah, feel free to.
Knuckles will help.
Knuckles will help. Yeah.
He better know some answers. Yeah.
Okay, so 10 rounds. Each round is worth a point. Let's get at least, I think, 5 or 6 points. 6 points. Yeah, I think it's
that's
doable.
very optimistic.
I think it's doable. I think so. So, question 1. I'm going to read this one. This is a multiple choice question, so it's easier. Okay. And it's funny because I didn't know you were going to mention this specific type or part of the Sonic history. But in 2007, Sega released this game, which was the first installment in the Sonic Storybook series. You mentioned this earlier. In it, Sonic the Hedgehog enters the world of the Arabian Nights book to fight an evil genie. What game is it? I have options, though.
Sonic and the
please.
Secret Ring. Oh, okay.
So you're saying you don't need the options. That's what I'm hearing.
Read them out just in case.
If it's not on there.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you could just go with your answer.
No, I want to see them now. Now it feels like trick.
Okay, so option 1 or A, Sonic and the Black Knight.
No.
Option 2, Sonic and the Secret Rings. Option 3, Sonic Lost World.
Yes, 2.
Yeah.
2. He's on there. It's good.
I'm with Dan on this one.
So it's definitely not one of the others.
I'm very certain. Yeah.
Definitely.
That is correct. Yes.
We get
Well
one
done.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not
Well
counting
done.
it. We got
Well
one
done.
point.
Good job. 1 point. Okay. So round 2 is a song. Okay. 15-second long clip. Clip number 1. Let's take. You only need the game, by the way. So.
Okay. Show him us here.
They're all Sonic games, by the way. Everything about this is Sonic. So.
That's a good start.
Do you recognize it? Does it ring a bell?
Probably the answer starts with Sonic.
Yeah, I was thinking if I say Sonic something, but I think.
It's a little gentler. It's not the sort of. So I think it's a little older, maybe.
I was picturing the classics with an ice place, but that's what I was picturing. But I don't know if that's right. No, I don't know.
Wild stab in the dark, guess.
I think you should. don't lose any points, so might as well.
Don't know. It felt like something from Sonic and Knuckles or something, but like I'm not sure.
I think a bit more modern than that. I would say, I'm going to say like Adventure, like Adventure 1. Just a gut feel. could be like so far off that it's embarrassing.
I'm so bad with them. Yeah.
A chance to steal, Emil?
Just
Can I call a friend?
from the friend, yeah. So what's your answer? Your final answer then? Which one is it?
You think it's newer than?
Yeah, I don't think it's 16-bit.
No, it wasn't. Still. Go on, go with what you think.
Let's go Sonic Adventure.
Okay. So Dan says, I'll defer to the music guy.
Yeah.
He was, I'm sure.
I feel like I should know this. Like I can kind of feel it, but it's like, yeah. No.
So I will tell you that this is the title screen of a game.
Okay.
Is it Sonic Adventure?
It's not Sonic Adventure.
It's not.
Like
It's
Shuffle
not,
or something.
It wasn't Sonic and Knuckles either. It was Sonic Jump.
Jump.
Sonic
We should have
Jump.
known that. Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more obscure than you thought, but okay.
Yeah, but I guess that was one. Yeah, from here, right?
Yeah, that's one of that's a HARDlight game.
Yeah.
Long time before either of us joined the studio.
Yeah, but
You
still.
have that
Oh,
excuse.
yeah.
You have that excuse. Yeah. Okay. So, question number 3, Emil, would you like to ask question number 3, please?
Sure. Which of the following characters is not playable in Sonic Advance for the Game Boy Advance? And the option 1, right, options as well.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm done. No. Option 1 is Cream, 2, Amy, or 3, Knuckles.
Cream. She's not in the first advance, is she? I'm pretty certain.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm pretty certain she didn't turn up till 2.
Your answer is correct. It's correct. Not playable.
Yes, that is correct. Okay, good job. Okay, so that's 2 points, 2 out of 3. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. Let's go with another song.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is my
Let's take a listen.
That's right.
There was a reaction at
You're
some point.
recognizing it. You're recognizing it. It's
Yeah,
somewhere.
there was a reaction.
Somewhere
So
there.
I can see the gears turning.
It's on the tip of your tongue, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I'm seeing the sandy place, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I could picture the level more than guess the
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
What kind of like era is this from? Maybe that's a good
Mega
starting
Drive,
point.
it feels. I mean, Genesis, whoever's listed. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. It's got that funkiness. You can hear it in the bass lines.
Yeah.
Indeed. Says the
That's
bass
true,
guitarist.
that's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's where I'm tuned. I guess I would think Sonic and Knuckles.
That was what was in my head, but
Go on, then,
not
let's
sure.
go for it. Sonic and Knuckles.
yeah.
You were saying that you could picture the level in your head, right? So I think it was you, Lewis, who said that. What kind
well,
of
I think
thing?
you're right.
What are you seeing?
I think, like Sandy, either Sandopolis.
Like sand golems and things like that. That's what I had in my head, but I'm not sure if that's right. I was just trying to like picture it, but yeah.
Okay.
I was terrible back in those days because I just didn't listen to it.
I'm so old. I used to record the songs. I used to like
like straight off.
yeah, straight off the TV. Yeah. So Sonic and Knuckles?
Yeah.
I'm just stalling here. Final answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Go
Live the
on.
dream. It's like Thelma and Louise. Yeah.
No. No. Very close, though. Sonic 3. This was
Okay.
Marble Garden Zone.
Marble
not
Garden.
Sendopolis. No. It's the one that like has a lot of marble stuff and green. So Marble Garden makes sense. Now that I think I've never thought about this before.
Sure.
Before right now, when I said marble stuff and green, Marble Garden makes sense. Okay, I just blew my own mind. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's it. So no points, unfortunately, but still more questions to go. So number 5. Number 5 is it's a question without options.
Without options.
I have a feeling you'll crush this one. In which Sonic game did Cream the Rabbit debut as a playable character?
Debut. So officially, I mean, it depends on the time
As
on
a
which.
playable character.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I think it's Sonic Advance 2, but actual Heroes is why she was made initially. So it's like depends which answer you want. Debut, I think Advance just as the Edge. I think it came out just before Heroes came out, if I remember. So I think Heroes got delayed. I think it's Sonic Advance 2.
I would
Final
say the
answer?
same.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You're feeling pretty sure of yourself there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You started like it. I think, but then, but then, Sonic
A
Adventure.
long
Yeah,
time in the past when that happened.
that is correct. That's it. Yes, 3 points. Good
Awesome.
job.
Okay.
Okay, one more song.
Yeah, see, this is the downfall. It's like it's when it's musical, it's game over.
Okay, so to be honest, there are 4 songs and 6 questions. So,
Okay.
you've got the edge there. Okay, so song number 3. Let's take a listen. I think this is easy.
You said that was easy. It doesn't feel that easy to me.
Shouldn't have said anything. Yeah.
Yeah, Kate. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't easy.
Well, feels like it was probably after Dreamcast. I would say that sound. I think I might be wrong, but something about that makes me feel like it's Heroes related, but I'm not sure.
I like how Lewis is trying to read my expression or something like.
Yeah,
Is he?
Very soul.
we need a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if we can see like your notes in a mirror or something.
I mean, it could well be Heroes. It could be Colors. It could be that. But I think it's sort of like
Colors has slightly more orchestration and stuff in it,
Okay.
like that. I think, but now I've said that, I probably sound like an idiot. But
no. Let's go with Dan's. Dan's thought on that.
it doesn't feel. I mean, it's just purely feel, but it doesn't feel as recent as Colors, which sounds weird to say, but because Colors isn't that recent. But yeah,
Okay.
That's true.
I think Heroes.
All right.
Heroes. Okay. So final answer. Sonic
Yeah.
Heroes. Very close.
Ah, man.
But no. It's
Was it?
remixing a Sonic Heroes song, which is Seaside Hill, but it's actually Sonic Dash.
We did
Oh my
that in Dash. Yeah. We should totally have known that. Man.
We're going to get all our own questions.
Yeah.
It's the level music of Sonic Dash.
Yeah.
The main level music. So yeah.
So here's the reason Why? Because we work in a mobile studio. The general joke is that audio comes last. Nobody, because no everyone plays their phone. It just proves that point, unfortunately.
Okay, but you were in the vicinity in a way, because the song is originally from Sonic Heroes, but
Half a
yeah,
point. That's all
yeah,
right.
yeah. If you need it, I'll give you the half point later. Okay, so question number 7. Emil, would you like to ask this question? This is a very good question.
I'm sure. So aside from the home console version, Sonic Generations was also released for the Nintendo 3DS. Which of the following is not one of the zones present in that version of the game? So a zone that is not present. Is it 1, City Escape, 2, Green Hill, or 3, Water Palace?
So just for context, City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2, right? Green Hill,
Yes,
Sonic 1.
from Sonic 1, and Water Palace from Sonic Rush.
Yeah. Maybe that'll help. Or not.
Lewis is thinking hard.
I mean, I would say, my process of reasoning here, I think Green Hill be in it in Generations.
Green Hill's like the first thing you do in Generations, if I remember rightly.
I've not played the 3DS one though, so but I can't imagine they would cut the first level, right? That would be surprising to me.
Isn't Generations, does it go Green Hill and then I think it's Chemical Plant, I think, if I remember the console one. Can't remember.
That is true for the console one, yeah.
And you said City Escape. I feel like that's going to be in both. But that's quite a big old level.
Sure.
I mean, process of reasoning. You could go water on a 3DS.
So the options are City Escape, Sonic Adventure 2, Green Hill, Sonic 1, or Water Palace, Sonic Rush.
I think Water Palace, Rush.
Yeah.
I mean, Sonic Rush was on the 3DS, wasn't it? I think, if I remember, that was the original platform. So it feels like they might have put it into the handheld version of the game and then taken out City Escape. But I don't remember.
But you have to decide.
I know. Need a timer so we get under the pressure. Like,
I feel the pressure.
No pressure. But I need an answer now.
Yeah.
Go down.
Oh, no. I mean, now I've freaked myself out because I'm thinking, like, would they have put Rush in the 3DS version or not?
What does your gut feeling tell you? Don't overthink it.
My gut tells me I don't know. That's what it tells me.
What's your gut feeling here? What's the answer? The answer. There's only one.
It'd be weird not to have City Escape in the 3DS version, but it is a big level.
Yeah. It is
That's
big.
True. That's true. So what's your answer?
My game dev brain says probably City Escape because it's a big level. But it feels so wrong to say that because it's like an essential part of Generations, so...
Maybe it's just for the console version.
This is tough. I think we're just going to have to 50-50 go on. Just guess one.
Let's go with the Rush level because I think it's less. It sounds wrong to say this, but it sounds like it's less iconic. I would say
that reasoning makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to slap myself later. But
okay,
so C.
So Water Palace from Sonic Rush, right?
Yeah.
So, Lime, would you like to share?
Cool. So the question was, which one of these zones are not in the 3DS version? And so Green Hill is in that version. So it stands either between Cityscape or Water Palace. Water Palace is in the version as well. So the answer was City Escape. That is not
Scale. That's why they would have
in
done
the
it.
3DS version.
He was there. He was there.
I was so close.
I
freaked myself
I said,
out.
don't overthink it. Don't overthink
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Great poker faces. I was trying to read. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what do they react to? What they're like, yeah, go on, go for this.
Yeah, you look at that face. I was just staring into the abyss. Like I didn't know this, like.
Yeah, but
You
that's
were
good
there.
reasoning. That's good reasoning. Yeah,
Yeah.
City Escape is a massive level, right? Yeah.
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 good
You,
reasoning.
you were there, you were right, but then you started questioning yourself.
Yeah.
Never do that. Never do that.
No.
Okay, but no worries. So, what are the current standings? 4 points. Yeah, I think so. Right. So 1, 2, 3. No, 3 points. 3 points. That means we need to get all of the next ones right, and you will. You will. Let's take a listen to the last song. Okay, take a good listen.
You're trying to read us, but we are also trying to read you. Like, are you recognizing it? Like, does it ring a bell? Like,
It does, yeah, but I couldn't tell you what it's from. I definitely heard it and probably played this quite recently.
I've heard this and I've not played it for many years. I think this has got to be 16-bit era, classic Mega Drive Sonic. But which game? Oh my goodness!
I ended up thinking Mania, though. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Is this going to be one of those ones where you're like, oh, well, it was a Sonic 3 track, but it was remixed for Mania, and this is the Mania version?
so technically,
I will say this is not a remix. This is not a remix. I'll give you that as a clue, if you will.
What was the clue? Sorry.
Oh, it's not a remix. It's an original track for that specific game. Second clue is it's a Sonic game. You're welcome.
That's good. That's good. It's definitely got Sonic in it.
Yeah.
Are we right in thinking the era that it's classic Sonic?
Sounds can be deceiving.
See, that could be either then.
Is there a game that has certain levels that would benefit from like a classic sounding soundtrack, as well as some more modern ones? I don't know.
Because you played more of Superstars than I have yet. I haven't finished Superstars yet, so I wouldn't know if it was in that.
Well, Superstars came out at a problematic time for us, obviously, during the development.
Of course.
Of course. Chance to sit there and play it. So I played it a bit. But I don't think it's Superstars. I don't think it is. I certainly don't recognise it. It doesn't jump.
Mania popped in my head.
Yeah. I would say Mania, or could it be one of the 2D levels from Generations? Does that sit with you?
That wouldn't fit what I told you earlier, that it's not a remix. So it's an original song, right? So
thanks for bringing the evidence back up.
I'm not helping. I'm not helping. I'm just stating the obvious.
Yeah, my brain's going to Mania, but I might be getting confused at what I played most recently, because I played a lot of Origins as well. For like a really short time on a plane, I played loads of it, and then I didn't play it for a while. So it could be that.
I would go.
So
let's do it. Sonic Mania, final answer.
Sonic Mania, final answer. We can lock it in. And your answer is... Let's start with the zone. It's Casino Forest Zone. From Sonic Forces. which is a game that has like the modern levels and the classic levels as well. So yeah,
Man.
but this was a hard one. This was the hardest one, I think. It's the last one. So yeah.
It wasn't that recent that I played that then. No, I mean, that was
2017? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Okay, no worries. So we have 2 questions left. And it's for glory, Dan and Lewis.
Oh my gosh.
Which one do you want, Lime? 9 or 10?
I can go with the 9.
Okay.
Yeah, I figure. So the question is, in Sonic Heroes, Rouge the Bat teams up with Shadow the Hedgehog and E123 Omega to find Dr. Eggman. What's the name of their team? So in Sonic Heroes, you play different teams. You play different teams, and the name of the team involving.
Team Dark in that.
Sorry,
Are they not just called Team Dark in that?
Could be.
Are you asking me, or are you answering?
I'm answering, I think, because I'm trying to remember how it is actually written in that game. Team Dark, I think.
Does Lewis agree with this answer?
He's nodding.
That sounds right to me. I'll go with it.
Every time I answer now, I feel like it's a trick question. But
Okay, so your answer is that is your final answer.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the name of the team is Team Dark. There we go. Yeah. Awesome.
Well done. 1
Congrats.
point. Good job. And that leaves us with one final question. Okay. This is for glory. This is a question that is part of my Back of the Box series. So what I did was I looked into the back of certain boxes of games, in this case, a Sonic game. And I'm going to read you the description on the back of the box of this specific game. Okay?
Okay.
So it's not a digital game, by the way, because it has a box. So maybe that's a clue. I don't know. Ready? And I'm going to read it like I mean it, because there are like exclamation points here.
Yeah.
New attitude, new enemies. Swing from vines, launch new attacks, survive deadly traps, and summon tails to airlift Sonic out of danger. Discover hidden rooms and passageways in the mega-sized zones. Transform into Supersonic and experience the ultimate in speed and ultrasonic power. Save your progress using the new game save feature. It's very descriptive.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Sonic 2, but with the save, though.
Yeah. I don't remember now. It's been a long time.
There are a couple of giveaways here in this description.
Swing from vines. When did that first come in? But the game
that's actually one. Hadn't thought about that before. Yeah, that's actually a clue there.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
And game saves, we've got to be talking fairly early, because game saves, you wouldn't really shout about that on the back of a box of a.
Oh my gosh, you can save this game.
Save your game.
Wow. The new game save feature.
I guess what I was thinking with the early games, again, going back a bit now, but I don't remember saving. I remember having to do everything in one go.
Yeah.
There was one specific game that brought this.
It said saving to the VDU, like the little cartridge you plug into the Dreamcast controller.
The VMU? No, that's probably not this. No. That's not what they're talking about here.
Did it say team up with Tails?
So, new attitude, new enemies. Swing from vines, launch new attacks, survive deadly traps, and summon Tails to airlift Sonic out of danger. Discover hidden rooms and passageways in the mega-sized zones. transform into supersonic, and experience the ultimate in speed and ultrasonic power. Save your progress using the new game save feature.
When did Supersonic come in?
2 officially. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like Sonic 2, but the save thing's throwing me. I cannot remember whether I could save games. I mean, this is a long time ago we're talking about now.
You're talking to old men
Yeah.
who haven't
Well,
played.
I think we're all old men here. I do remember having to do everything in one sitting
Yeah.
in some Sonic games.
Yeah.
I mean, Tails got introduced in 2. To summon in Tails.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't really summon him.
No, that's what I was
He's just
thinking.
there.
It's just what your little brother plays as, right?
Yeah.
And it says Tails airlifts Sonic out of danger.
Yeah.
That feels later.
You could do that bit, but I'm just trying to think of...
What bit?
You can, in 2, I'm pretty sure he does like jump onto him and grab him, doesn't he? If I
Does he?
imagine that. Is it not in 2? Blimey.
Is it not in 2?
I feel like it is in 2.
Maybe not.
Oh, these guys are confusing.
Maybe it's not.
Or what if it is?
Oh my God. I don't even know who I am anymore.
So let's focus on the game save feature. Where do you think, or when do you think we first got that?
This feels like a Mega Drive game you're discussing.
Okay. That's a good way to narrow it down, right?
The save game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only bit that's really throwing me is like, when was save a thing?
And it's
Because
probably
there's a
the
high
best
chance-
clue in this description here.
It's like a high chance that it was there. I just didn't use it as a kid because I was an idiot and just kept trying to play it in one go.
You would have known, actually. Yeah,
Because
you
it
would
just
have known.
continued from where you left off.
Yeah. So we have Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic Spinball, right? Those are the ones we can actually consider Sonic games if we don't go into obscure territory. So
It feels like 2 to me. Like,
Okay.
Because they're making a deal out of Tails. They don't mention anything to do with Knuckles.
True.
It's got-
that's a good point.
It's just the save thing. I can't remember. I cannot remember.
So
at all.
if it were not for the save thing, you would go with 2?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. But we do have the save thing.
Could you
So
say
it
Sonic
can't be-
2?
It's not Spinball, right? Because Spinball doesn't
Okay.
operate in those.
So that rules 1 out.
Yeah.
There's
Feels like
3
if it
left.
was Sonic 3 or
No.
Sonic and Knuckles, they'd mention Knuckles and they don't. And there's no
Yeah.
rivalry. And I remember that being a bit more hyped around the Knuckles logo and stuff.
Yeah. Should we just go Sonic 2? Because
Yeah.
I mean, the process of elimination feels right, even though our own memories let us down.
Yes.
Okay. So final answer?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
They say
Let's do it.
like
Heck yeah.
very sure of themselves. Okay, so what I read, by the way, was the description from the US box. Because I went to the one that I remember, because I'm from Portugal, so we're all European here. And I seem to have a different recollection from the way that this game was, advertised. But the European version is just this: 6 great levels, all new special stages, new enemies in his biggest adventure yet. This is it. I imagine because they had to save the space for all the different languages on the box, maybe. But this wouldn't be helpful. So I went with the US one. Sonic 1 is not the correct answer. We didn't have Tails yet, right? Sonic and Knuckles doesn't really have a game save feature either. You could connect it to the other cartridges, but doesn't have a game save feature. Sonic Spinball, you just play as Sonic, and it's not really a mainline Sonic game. So is it Sonic 2 or Sonic 3? It's Sonic 3. which have the vines in the first stage. You were swinging from vines.
Yeah.
Tails could airlift Sonic out of danger. Yes, a second player could control Tails, and there's a boss where right. You were thinking about that probably. And then there's the game save feature as well. Yeah, you probably didn't even think about it because you just started from wherever you left off. Yeah.
Pretty sure. I started. I don't think I ever played Sonic 3 on its own. I always did the Knuckles add-on. Yeah. So it's like,
and it used and when it's with Sonic 3, you get the game save feature as well. Sonic and Knuckles on its own doesn't have the game save feature, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles does have that.
Interesting how it this is on it focuses on Tails, in the back with the box.
I was surprised by the lack of mention of Knuckles.
Yeah,
actually.
Me too. So like your reasoning was good there. They didn't mention
made a
Knuckles
lot of
or
sense.
anything. Yeah.
Made a lot of sense, but but no mention of Knuckles. But it was the right answer was Sonic 3.
We did not do well, man.
So you did. I have that half a point saved from earlier. That means you get the official Sega Lodge seal of approval, which I will send to you later.
Oh, that's very nice.
Good job. Yeah.
Awesome.
Even for just bearing with us during this, challenging time of the podcast, you deserve the seal of approval.
We're disappointed half of HARDlight now, especially that if we'd have brought Sean, one of our designers, the music, he'd have got it like that, I'm certain.
You have to come back and,
Yeah. I'll bring Sean next time. We'll just be there. We'll just pull him out when we need to answer questions.
Exactly.
It's all in good fun, though. So thank you so much for engaging with us.
Yeah. This. Very good. So we don't want to keep you for very long. Just a couple more questions before we let you go. So obviously we had recently news on continued support of Sonic Dream Team, right? Would you like to talk a little bit about that and whatever plans you have for the future of the game?
Yeah, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we actually just put out an update last week. I mean, at the point of recording this, whenever that's goes out. But so we added in this sort of time trials. Basically, you kind of get your best times on certain levels. I mean, we'd seen how well it landed with the speedrunner community, and they were finding crazy little skips and awesome ways to play the game that we never thought of. We're watching videos like jaw agape as they do some of these like dives into nothing and then kind of latch onto something amazing. So having those kind of best times things, and also the integration with leaderboards as well. I mean, when that came in, like the whole team was just grabbing the. We just kind of put it. We all sat there getting really competitive with each other, and kind of watching the leaderboards. Like, where did that come from? How did you scrape down that extra second? So it was. I could tell it was going to land well. I think with players. So I mean, that's just gone out. And we mentioned that we're going to have rank badges in the next update as well. So you'll actually get to see kind of as you're playing those kind of speed run levels, how how we've kind of designed the levels to be completed. Can you hit this time? Can you get that S rank? So that's going to be good. I think we can say that. I mean, something that I'm super excited about because just a little bit of context, right? So I mean, the game is, I think, really good fun, but it is, it's challenging to get those kind of really great times, but it's something that we've tried to design that will, be enjoyable for a wide range of audiences, right? I mean, there's a huge kind of gap between all the different types of players that you get. And I think once you get to the end of the game and you've mastered that flow state, you're feeling great about how you're kind of playing through the levels. I'm sort of looking back and thinking, I think we could push it a bit further. And I've basically been bullying one of our designers into like just making the game harder. So I mean, there'll be some new challenges coming into the next update, which will introduce some much more challenging levels, and it's been pretty fun to see the QA team like starting to struggle with
Cool. I welcome this.
Yeah,
sounds exciting.
And I don't know if you know this, but we have Emil here, Lime Reversed, as he's known in the streaming community. He 100% all Sonic games, and Sonic Dream Team. As far as as the content that's available now, it's done, right, Lime? So
I only have the Tails challenges left, but I have to wait for those. So there's nothing I can do at the moment. But yeah, up and including the latest update, everything is done. So it was loads of fun. It's very. It's a huge coincidence I was invited to this thing because I stream 2 days a week. One of those days is Sonic Dream Team, and the other day is Yakuza 0 on PC.
Oh, that's cool. Amazing.
Yeah. So it's not a coincidence, obviously. That's why you were invited, because I know you enjoy the game. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So people can get excited and expect some awesome stuff coming out from you guys in the future, right? So that's nice. That's nice. You're continuing to support the game and come out with new content. That's amazing. Awesome. What about like the studio as a whole? Is there anything you can tell us about what's next for HARDlight and what we can expect, maybe apart from Sonic
really at the moment? No, it's quite hard to say, and it's not because it's a secret. It's just we're still making those types of plans at the moment. So it's not like we're working on any hidden secret stuff. We're just trying to work out what it's going to be. So we don't know yet. Okay. I mean, basically, obviously, we keep running the live games. Anything that's out needs support in Dream Team, keeps getting updates and things like that. So it's what is the next big project, or how is that going to go? That's what we're trying to do, is just work out what that'll be and where it will go.
Yeah, makes sense.
Something that everybody, when I look at reviews, seems to wonder is, will this come out on other platforms?
That's something we can't talk about yet, really. Yeah. So,
I get it. I had to ask, but I get it.
I mean, I think it's fair to say, obviously it's something we'd love to do. I mean, we want the most players that can enjoy the game as possible to play it. So it's it's certainly not an impossibility, but these things are complex from a variety of reasons.
There are deals in place and exclusivity deals and stuff that are, I would assume. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, as Stan said, I mean, it's all about kind of, we got to make this game, and so we've just been super focused on just getting the game as good as we can make it on the platforms it's on right now. But yes, obviously, I want as many people to play the game as possible because I think it's a fun game. I think they'll enjoy it. So
and people have enjoyed it, obviously.
Yeah, so. I would say people who have enjoyed it, who have played it, actually enjoyed it, and I think are appreciative of the effort that you put into this, right? Especially because we weren't expecting this to come out at all, let alone be this good. So it's nice to see and to meet the people who actually put the effort into this game that we so much enjoyed and will keep on enjoying, I'm sure. Okay, so we have one final question, which is the same one for all of my guests here on the Sega Lounge. I don't know if you are familiar with the concept of blast processing. No. Okay, so in the 90s, that's more of a US thing, but in the US, Sega said that the Genesis had blast processing, which put it above the competition, was faster than the competition, more powerful. And so my usual last question is, if you could add blast processing, assuming that's a real thing, of course it is, if you could add blast processing to anything in the world, what would it be and why? There are no wrong answers here.
Like, what could I make more powerful, basically?
Exactly. That's the reasoning there. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a
great question.
it's a really potentially nerdy answer, but it's like I always want to do faster previs for video games. So I want like a process that's blast process, so I can make it go faster, so I can show people what I want to make faster. Like that's my primary concern in life, is how quickly can I show you what I want to make. That's basically the only thing I want to go faster with. Everything else I'd like to slow down. I'm getting old. Like
that's true. I'm considering this as well. Yeah. But I like your answer. I like your answer.
Now, what would be the opposite of blast processing if you want things to go slower?
I don't know.
Turtle processing, snail processing.
Snail processing, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Lewis.
Well, I mean, I think it's all in the same vein, but I mean, I would like to put the blast processor in myself, I because when you get the idea and you want to make the idea, and you can just picture it, it's so frustrating to have to go down that route to actually get there. I just want to fast forward to the end.
Yeah.
I can relate to that. Yeah. In many ways, more ways than one. Yeah, in life.
Without aging.
Yeah,
because that's the problem, right? If you blast process yourself and then you age faster, that's not good. So we have to
you sort of need to
find some sort of
potato
balance.
process yourself and then blast what you do. That's what, like locked in two different.
Exactly. This is the answer. This is the answer. After 10 years of show, we finally found the answer to the to the question. Yes.
Everybody thought it was 42.
Yeah. Excellent. So Dan and Lewis, anything else you'd like to say to the fans listening in, to people enjoying your game before we go?
I think it's just thank you all for playing it in the first place. I was so happy that people got excited. And like you said, because no one was really waiting for it, the hype part all happened really quickly, almost overnight. And the reception's been so good and all the feedback has been useful. I mean, we use it to kind of hone what we do with the game going forward, and a lot of our plans sort of tie it. So if we see players doing certain things, it's good. If you make all that content and stick it up on YouTube, we watch it and we try and work out how we improve the game, really. So yeah, just keep doing that.
Okay. Awesome. Excellent. Lewis, anything to add?
Well, I mean, it's really lovely to speak to people who've been very complimentary about our game and kind of have clearly enjoyed it. And it's amazing to get that kind of feedback. And I really appreciate you guys kind of being interested in what we do and kind of wanting to dig in. So it's been great to chat with you. And I hope that it's interesting for the people out there hearing about how we put this stuff together. It's been great.
I think so. Yeah, it was really nice to have you on the show. Emil, anything else to ask?
No. I think that's it.
Okay. So thank you very much, guys. Dan and Lewis.
Thank you so much.
A pleasure to have you on the show. And hopefully we can chat soon. Like when we have Sonic Dream Team coming to Xbox Series Y or whatever is the next gen console, and PlayStation 6. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you both. See you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan and Lewis, for coming to the lounge, and thanks as well to Lime for being a great co-interviewer. It's been a while since I had someone joining me for an interview, and it felt great, to be honest. Hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Next week, we'll be back with another interview, and I'm busy behind the scenes setting up more interviews and roundtables for future episodes, so if you're new to the Sega Lounge, please follow us on your podcast platform of choice so you don't miss new content when it comes out. Thank you very much for listening, Loungers. Have a wonderful week, enjoy some Sega games, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye. The Sega Lounge, hosted by me, KC, and part of Radio Sega's network of live shows and podcasts. Theme song and incidental music by OSC. Got any suggestions? Drop me an email to podcast@thesegalounge.com. Find us at The Sega Lounge on X, Twitter, and Instagram, at thesegalounge.com on Blue Sky, and be sure to check out our Twitch and YouTube channel for live video content. You can find previous episodes of the show by going to thesegalounge.com, on the Terra Player app, and wherever you listen to podcasts. A Mixdown Productions podcast.